All right, let's do this. Another Thursday, another stream to get some work done on this project. So I've been making a fair amount of progress off and on, trying to build the economy up, really trying to build up the economy, trying to add to the buildings, and really, again, focusing on the economy and base building in the sense of, again, building that economy, building the buildings that are required for that economy. And I made a lot of progress on that. I've added a bunch of resources. You can see the resources now. I've added a bunch of resources over to the left there. I've added a bunch of buildings. We have placeholder art back in here. We've got this water pump in here. I think I did this off stream. Now I got a water pump that's going to pump water. Water's one of your resources. Got some housing in here. Vaguely looks like a house. Let's see what else we got in here. We've got a power plant in here that produces energy, takes in fuel. And we've also added a smelter. It's got a very nice S on it to remind us that it is the smelter. So we've got a fair amount of placeholder art in here. And hey, Michael. Thanks for, yeah, you like those icons? I really like these actual 3D images, or I guess they're not 3D images, the images of 3D models, but we've got these buildings in here and it's starting to come along. But one of the snags that I hit, and I'm not terribly surprised about this. I made this decision a while back. There's a couple snags here. There's a couple things involved here. The snag that I hit is this housing. So if you can see there, it's got food and water. You can see that over here on the right. It's got food and water. And that's what right now, that's what the colonists need to survive. And I need to be able to calculate how much food and water they need. And that just ended up being kind of complicated to count. Because of the way that I'm storing resources. And colonists, as far as the game's concerned, is really just another resource. And what I want to do right now, the way storage works is each building has a max storage value. And that is the max storage for each resource, which was nice and easy and tidy, and it worked. But I want to explore changing that so that the max storage is a total storage, and I want to be able to set a maximum storage per resource. And this all comes back together with this idea of storing the workers. I want my headquarters here, this big building. When we place it, it comes in with, I think, 20 workers. And I kind of want to make that the maximum value. Like those are the workers that come with the headquarters. If you want any more workers, you've got to build some housing. Maybe that makes sense. That's kind of the chain of logic here that's led me back to reevaluating how I'm calculating the maximum storage and what's available in a particular building. So that's kind of where I want to go with that. I want to go dig into the code a little bit. I'm hoping this isn't too painful of a change. I want to make it so that each building, the max storage is truly the max storage for that building. And that is going to enable me to, it's going to force the player to do building or to create housing and make it much easier to calculate how much food and water we're going to need to support those colonists. So roundabout thing, but this is just kind of the way that game development works. You implement a new mechanic and you realize some way that you were doing something previously is not going to work. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to dig into the storage code a little bit. And hopefully this will go reasonably well. If that goes really well and really quickly, I'm gonna dig into one of these models, probably the smelter, and see if we can do a little bit of modeling and get that a little bit prettier. But we'll see how the change of the code works. Hey, Lee Davis, thanks for joining again. Much appreciated. Yeah, Michael, you like the icons? I think they're great. I've got a scene set up to just take those photos so I can stick the models in there and then get a consistent lighting and all that. That's cool. I did this similar thing with the tiles. So that all works in there. I think it's looking really nice. Hey, Pedro. Welcome to the stream. All right. So like I said, I'm hoping this is going to be not so painful and break everything. But with that said, we're going to make a commit to our version control here. So we're going to do that in case I royally screw things up, because we might be messing around with some core functionality here, right? The storage and the transport of resources is pretty core to this game. Getting ready to mess with storage capacity. So we're going to commit these files. That way, if I really screw it up, I can get myself back without having to remember exactly what I did. Look up Google, procedural icons for Unity. You know, I should. Okay, let's look that up while we're talking about that. I looked up. I thought I'd remembered seeing a asset that could take 3D models and generate icons, and then I looked for it and I couldn't find it. So maybe, is this it? Does he actually have a preview of what he's going to do? No. Delightful. I mean, in all honesty, like it's not, it hasn't been that hard. It's been pretty quick. It's maybe, oh, that's kind of cool. It takes maybe 10 minutes at most to make the icon. That's pretty sweet. Well, let's bookmark that one and all right. Let's dig into our code here. So let's close out a bunch of stuff we're just not gonna need for now. I'm gonna leave this worker manager up. It's got a, well, we'll close it because we're not gonna need it right now. It does have a bug in it. It's one of the errors that's getting thrown right now. We might leave up player resources that could be useful, and we're going to close this thing. So this is the unit storage behavior. This is what a ton of stuff is interacting with. This is what the drones are interacting with. This is what production behaviors are interacting with. All kinds of stuff are interacting here. So let's. And everything's broken up into functions, and there's probably some extra fluff and whatever, and there could be some cleanup of this. But what I want to look at is see if, first one I want to look up, can we store resource? So this is the first one here. We want to look at, can we store this resource? This basically determines, hey, do we have room to store more stuff, This is the big one here. So let's like maybe shrink everything down, and I lost it. All right, can store resource. So I want to refresh my memory too on how I am storing resources. And it's not that bad. Okay, so I've got this class, I guess it's a struct, is called resource amount. It's not well named particularly, but what it basically is, it's got some helper functions here. It basically holds a type and an amount. So the type of resource we have and the amount, which is where I got the name from. And that's how we're tracking. We're using these three lists here to track how much is actually in this how much is in this actual storage unit. And so what we're doing right now is first we check and see, hey, like, are we actually allowed to store this? So we can store all types, which is what like the headquarters does. We can just dump whatever we want in there. It's great, works fine. Or we can prescribe exactly what is allowed in this resource. So for example, things like the solar panel can only store energy. It prevents any accidental like dropping off of food at the storage unit. We don't want to do that. Or at the solar panel, we don't want to do that. What we do is we compare here's our stat of max storage. So this is set in a scriptable object. Hey, here's the most this building can hold. And we're going to have to change those values. And then we get the amount to deliver. Actually, so here we get the resource total. So this is essentially all we need to change is the total resource. And this might cause problems. And maybe I need to come up with another way to do this. We're getting the total resource, which isn't really what we want to compare it to. We want to get total stored. Let's make sure that function's doing what we want it to. So this is the total amount stored. That's the current amount. We probably want to add, okay, let's check and see who's using this. So we've got the amount in transit. That's the amount that's been, has actively been picked up or is waiting to be picked up, but the delivery hasn't been finished yet. And then we have this resource requested. So that basically says, hey, if we need some resources, we've made a request of it. We need to keep track of that so that we don't overfill ourselves. So let's see all of where this gets used. Percent complete. Well, maybe we need to make a new function here because this other one, percent complete. Okay, so I think we need to make, let's just go there. Okay, I think we need to make another function here because this is total stored, which is a good name for that, but we're gonna duplicate this. And we're gonna call this storage. Let's not capacity used. So we're gonna get rid of all of that. The amount of storage that is currently in use. Okay, capacity used. And then what I want to do here is capacity used. So now again, what we're going to do is we're going to compare the total amount that we can store compared to how much our capacity we're using, and determine if we can actually make the delivery that's happening. I think that's all we need to change. I'm a little worried this could break things. So what this could break is if we have a building that needs more than one resource. For example, housing. Housing needs food and water. Well, if it fills up on food and water, that's a problem. So I need to go check we need to make sure that we're requesting the right amounts. And if that gets too complicated, that could be pretty challenging. All right, so let's give this a quick test here. What do we want to do? We're gonna put a water pump in like that. And this has food. It says food and water. So let's put a housing down and see what happens to the storage here of our housing. I didn't really need to put that water pump in. That's just gonna make it slower. So let's see. I think we should get a maximum of 20 things stored. So right now we have 15. And there's one more to fill it up. Oh, maybe we can store more. Maybe, no, our max storage is 20, so it's not, okay, that didn't work. Well, that didn't work. Okay, so let's check. That might be a matter of what we're actually requesting. So this may not be the way to do this. This might be the way to do it. I think this is not going to be the way to do it. Because it's going to be a problem is then our workers are going to take up some of that space. That gets really messy, and I think it's going to get really fiddly. Okay. So we're going to get rid of that. And we're going to get rid of, I'm going to put these back in here. This is good practice. I'm going to put those back in there and comment them back out just so I have them. And this capacity used, I don't think we really need that. And then we're going to bring this back to get amount stored, and we're going to put in deliver type. Okay, we're just going to restore that back to the way that is. But what we're going to do instead here, what I'm going to do is we're going to create yet another list of resource amount, storage limits. Okay. Oops. So my thought here is instead, so let's try this with, how do we want to do it? How do I want to test this? I would like to, we'll test this with, since we're testing the housing, let's test the housing. So I'm going to go into housing, open up this prefab. And let's see, storage limits. So what I want to do is put in a storage limit here of, let's say, food. And we're going to say our food can only hold 10. Okay. So we've got that. Hey there. All is going well. How are you doing? Thanks for joining. Okay, so we're going to do a couple things here. All right, so first off, we're going to look and see if storage limits do. Been trying to learn to use a link, but I'm still very new to it. I know it's not always all that efficient. Type equals deliver type. Okay, so basically we're going to say, hey, if that storage limit has any type in it that matches the type that we're trying to store, we're going to do something different. Trying to create the most complex procedural generation algorithm you've ever written. Yeah, that's man, that stuff gets hard. Yeah, procedural generation, man. I feel like a lot of folks think like it's like the easy way to content, but I'm not sure procedural generation in a lot of cases is actually faster than just manually creating the content for some use cases. Obviously, there's other ones, but you know, you can create these big sprawling maps relatively quickly, but then you have to put details and objects in them, and you know, I'm not sure it's always faster. I think there's actually some tools that you can. Is it Gaia? Is that the one I'm thinking? No, there's another tool made by the guy who made Gaia that places objects procedurally. It's really nice. But yeah. That's cool. What are you generating with your procedural generation? Link is awesome. Link is awesome. I don't know it very well. I know I've been told it's not always all that efficient. Yeah, I mean, it gives you. I mean, I'm using procedural generation here to generate my landscapes, 100%. Is that better than me creating 20 levels by hand? Maybe. All right, so let's see. If we got storage limits, so let's put a little note in here. Is there a limit on this type of storage? Is this type of resource? Okay. That may not be the best way to do that because I don't actually get it back out. Is there an extension here where I can get this out? No. Okay. So if there's a limit on this type of storage, if there is, then we want to. Okay, let's do it this way. We're gonna do int max storage equals 0. Just initialize it there. So if there's this, then we want to do max storage equals storage limits. Can we do it this way? That's not really going to give me anything nice, is it? That's going to give me out my, no, it should. Amount. There we go. Else. I'm sure there's a better way to do that with link, but for now we're going to do that. Like that. Like that. It's a float. Why did I make it a float? Oh, because all my stats are floats. Okay. So basically there, we're just going to check and say, hey, is there any limit on this? If there's not, great. Okay, now let's check the other piece here is we want to check our resource levels, which kind of needs to do the same thing. Where again, we don't want to be using this stats value. So let's do this. Okay, so we're going to wrap this in a function. So we're going to wrap that in a new function. Get resource storage limit. Okay. I don't love that that's going to get called all the time. Wave function collapse. I watched part of a video on that. I didn't get far enough into it to truly understand what was going on. Yeah, it looks really complicated. I need to dig into it more. I always figure when you're for me, right? Like I just get a few hours a week to do this, you know. So when I'm trying to build a game in a reasonable amount of time, so less than 10 years, you've got to kind of pick where you put your time and your energy, right? Which basket are you going to put more time in and learn, or just like dump, you know, it's going to be kind of your time sink. And this time around, it was kind of my learning the hex math and getting all that working, getting that whole system working. I do think it'd be fun to dive deeper into some stuff like the wave function collapse and more procedural generation. It'd be cool. But I think I guess my point is I think it's easy to kind of get lost in that. Easy to get lost in that. Resource limit, resource type. Okay. Oh. Okay. Let's yeah, so we've got check resource levels. I've got 2 of these. Why do I have 2 of these? I'm gonna change which one it's calling. Ah. I'm gonna break things here. Oop. Oops. Okay, we're gonna do like, oops. Do like that. Okay. What I want to do is see, kind of want to, we just basically want to replace all these calls to max storage. Okay, that one's changed. We want to change all these so we're never really looking at that max storage anymore. Except for there, that's the one place we do want to do it. Here, make pickup request. I think we want to replace this basically everywhere. This is why we made a commit to our version control before we started doing this. Now that's a good call for that. Oh, nope, actually that's not. Oh, we're going to break so much stuff with this. Oh, wait. Where's per? Oh, wait, this is global storage. Okay, that's fine. Global storage, that's fine. We don't care about global storage. We're only looking at these other ones. All right. Fingers crossed. Did we actually get out of there without errors? Amazing. Let's see. Wave function collapse. Give it an input image, slice up into patterns, and then learn rules from how those patterns fit together. You can give it a blank sheet to output on, or a partially filled one to output around filled tiles. Interesting. All right. Let's see if by any miracle, this is working. So what it's going to look like here is if I can place housing here. And if you remember, we put a limit on the amount of food to 10. So hopefully we only requested 10. Okay, there we're full on food. Let's see if it worked. Yeah, it was looking good so far. We should get 20 water. Yes. Okay. Awesome. That's really good. That's really, really good. Okay. That's amazing. Should I try it again? We're about to break some stuff. You completed. Oh, I remember you saying that about your dynamic ladder generator. That'd be cool to see. If you got a link or something, drop it in the chat, or it'd be cool if you're part of the One Wheel Studio Discord server. There's a showcase channel there. It'd be cool to see what you're doing. All right, did I break something? All right, that's working. That. Oh, that makes me happy. That makes me so happy. I can't believe that worked. All right. So what I want to do, we're going to continue to ignore these errors for a minute. That one I think is actually built into Nova. I think they decorated something wrong. And this one doesn't show up all the time. I'm not sure what the cause of that is. All right. Headquarters. And the other error we're gonna fix because that's part of this whole shenanigans. Oh, we do actually want. I lied. We did want to change those global storage things. So we are going to say colonists. We're going to limit this to. We're just going to limit it to 20 for now. Okay, so we look at that. And then let's go take a look again at these global storages. So I think we do. This needs to be protected so that we can. So my global storage inherits from the unit storage, which has been a nightmare of going back and forth and reminding me why I don't generally like to use inheritance. Why aren't we? Oh, because I made it. Right, because I made it protected. I didn't make it public. And we are lost. Okay. Resource. Limit. There we go. Resource like that. Don't need the extra parentheses. Resource. No, I don't want to do. Stupid. Okay, fine. We'll have an overload. This is going to be resource type like that. And you're going to break everything. We'll just do like that. Okay, we do like that. And then instead here, we just return get storage. Get storage. Why? There you go. Deliver type. Okay. That works. Oops, I deleted my parentheses. Hey there. Hey, I'm glad you're enjoying the videos. Wish I had time to make more. Wish I had the energy to make more. Takes a lot of work. I've got like 7 ideas right now, and my very ADD brain has a hard time settling down to decide which one to make. Inheritance, yeah. Inheritance is. I think inheritance, it works when it's used appropriately, but it gets messy so quick. It gets messy so quick. I like to use inheritance when the base class can be abstract. So essentially the same kind of idea as an interface. I like implementing interfaces, and I like having abstract parent classes. I feel pretty comfortable with that usually, but like in this case, this isn't my global storage. Global storage, I've gone back and forth. Like it does implement some interfaces. Actually, I do have an iStore. I probably would have been a lot better to actually just implement that. Anyways, if you've been, we all know the pains of inheritance. And if you don't, you'll find them eventually. All right. Okay, that worked. That worked. Let's make sure this is still working. Okay, so here's what I want to see. Here's what I want to see. This is still getting okay, that's good. I realized I didn't say anything that made any sense there. So one of the things that we're working on, or I'm working on here, is the colonists and their food and the water that they need. And so how that gets triggered is off of I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. I'm gonna shut up for a minute. Let's see here. Let's turn on our, okay, my worker manager has an error in it, which is why it was off. Okay, so what should happen here is, okay, so we're gonna go to night here in a little bit. Now we're in nighttime. I have this on a really fast cycle. So like the whole day night cycle is like 30 seconds. When we get to the daytime, we should be looking to see if we can add more colonists. There we go. Perfect. 0 colonists arriving, housing is full because the headquarters can only take 20 people. Now, if I put a housing in here, we should be able to deliver our food and water. And again, we should only get to 10 food and we should get to 20 water. And we're going to go deliver our last water. Perfect. And there we go. We got 20 colonists arrived. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Am I dumb? Do I actually have a stat for housing? I do. I have a stat for housing. Huh. Adam, right now it's right now it is it's an upkeep for the colonists. I want, I definitely like I've been saying so long, like I want to keep it balanced so that it's not tedious. I don't want you to be constantly thinking, okay, do I need more farms? Like, you got to find that right balance so that it's not tedious. But yeah, it's gonna be an upkeep. Again, the idea is, and just from a gameplay mechanic perspective, is I want to. Oh, that's funny. The colonists didn't actually get dropped off. Oh, the workers are here. Oh, that's funny. Okay, we got to work on where our workers get dropped off because they got dropped off. Oh, that's funny. The idea behind this from a game mechanic, player motivation is, again, giving the player something to protect, right? You've got to build this up and you got to protect it. So that's one piece. That's a big piece of it. But the maintenance cost is pretty low. And when you start out, right now, the headquarters can create food, which I don't know if I like that. Here, let's move those guys over. Okay, right now, so now we got to work on the consumption, because right now we're not calculating the consumption correctly. All right, so, well, actually, let's first work on distributing these colonists, because right now they all got chunked into our headquarters, so it's actually overloaded right now. It's funny, like the colonists have just been like their own little beast to calculate because they get handled differently. But Adam, I like your idea too of a hotkey to advance the day and night. I don't know if did I do that? I put in a hotkey. I think I looked at doing that, but it was gonna like potentially like screw up the timing. I know workers don't have water. That's because they don't have any at the headquarters. They got lots of food though. This is a little bit of a problem to try to get this balance so that it makes sense, because it is this special case. But we're on our way. Okay, so we're making some food. That's good. Okay, we're pumping water like crazy. Okay, let's work on first. We're gonna go back and look at we're gonna fix our worker manager so that we don't have that error popping up anymore. So we're gonna get rid of some of this stuff. We're gonna have to come back. Oop, I probably needed that. Let's look at our worker manager. I just can't believe that worked that easily. All right, so we need a new event here. So what's happening right now is we're doing all this awake stuff, but we're looking for the headquarters and it hasn't been placed yet. Unit manager first, unit placed, unit placement started. I think that's the one I want. Let's go look and see. Let's go see. I thought I had it. Enemy. Let's look at our enemy spawn manager. It references, yeah, first unit placed. That's the one I'm looking for. Why couldn't I find that event? First. Oh, wait. Duh. I'm being an idiot. Okay. Unit placed. That's what we want. First unit placed. All right, something like that. Let's generate that function like that, and then we'll make sure we unsubscribe down here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move some of this initialization into this function. So let's go look at our spawn manager and see how we did that. Oh, I see. That's clever. We just unsubscribed. It's clever. We just unsubscribe when we get there. So what that's going to do is, right, as soon as that first unit's placed, it's going to invoke this action. We're going to call this function, and then we're going to unsubscribe. So we really can only get the first unit. Ooh, you posted an image on your Discord. On the Discord, let's see. Yeah, I got there. I'm gonna pull it up. Oh, that's cool. That's all procedural? That's sweet. Super cool. Yeah. That's super cool looking. Nice. Yeah, yeah, that's definitely a custom inspector you got there. Did you do that with something like Odin, or are you doing that it's a custom inspector just with Unity vanilla kind of stuff? That's it's no small amount of work to create a nice custom inspector like that. Okay. That should fix that error. Let's just double check that that fixes that error. Did it all manually. Oof. All right, let's make sure our worker. Okay, so we're still on. We're good. We haven't thrown an error yet. There we go. Now we threw an error. Sweet. Hmm. Huh. Well, I didn't see that coming. Glad we tested that. I mean, the other way to do this is there's nothing in the headquarters. I mean, we could call an event when the headquarters gets placed. Don't love duplicating. I could do that. I could put this in a coroutine and have it delayed by a frame. It's probably an annoying sound to come across on a stream. All right, it's not the way. This is probably maybe something that I'm going to have to tie into a fair amount. So that's not a horrible thing to do. Add in our system action. Let's make it static event action. Yeah, let's send the headquarters. That seems like a reasonable thing to do. On headquarters created. Thank you. I have been making all these lowercase, so let's keep it that way. And then on enable, we're going to on headquarters invoke this. While we're doing this, let's add in another one. See if I can spell destroyed correctly. Usually write destroyed. On disable, on headquarters destroyed. If I did spell it wrong, just let me have it. I'm going to choose to believe that is the correct spelling. All right, headquarters is done. Come back here, and we're just going to change this to headquarters created. And it's objecting because it wants headquarters HQ coming in like well, that's cool because because I'm passing that in. It'll save me a call. I don't have to do the find, which is good. spelling. All right. All right, let's see here. Is this going to work without? Yes, it works. And our worker manager is totally happy, not complaining about that at all. I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, so that's fixed. That took longer than I thought it would. Let's do. So here we are adding workers. So here is where we are doing this. Maybe we need to be more clever than just calling an event. We might need to be more clever than that. So let's look and see what we're doing with this. We're going to workers added. Okay, so here's just a little bit of safety. This is the player resources. So this is kind of the big script that's just watching all the resources in the whole level, the whole game, if you will. Oh, that's right. So we are. So I am actually tracking like the total number of workers here. Again, it's kind of this like one-off resource. So when colonists go off to buildings, because you have to like if you have a factory, you got to have workers in there that are working through the factory. That's one of the resources you got to deliver. Is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. It's the way I did it for now. I don't want to lose track of those. I need to keep track of how many I have. And so this is a way for me just to track that. Let's look at our add resource. So we're adding colonists. So this is what I think. So here's again, it's just the difficulty of like, I don't want to make added complexity. We want to add some depth to the game. We want to add some interest to the game, but we don't want to just create crazy micromanaging or anything like that. I like the idea of these workers being there. And what I also like is the workers that aren't currently employed are going to be in housing. If that housing gets destroyed, you lose those workers. If the housing gets destroyed, your capacity for workers goes down. But right now, when those workers are getting dropped off, they are getting delivered. They're getting delivered to the headquarters, which is not where I want them to get delivered. I want them to kind of get dispersed throughout whatever housing I have. I'm just laughing here at my list. Why do I keep using lists for this shit? It's a good question. Is a good question. All right, I think what I need. I think what I need is so let's bounce back here. Add resource. I think what I need is to not just add this resource like this. Because this is just adding into the global storage, which is why it's showing up in the headquarters. And that's not what I want it to do. So here is, so I want to, okay. What I want to do is instead distribute those workers around to our housing. I want to kind of sprinkle them around. And that, how are we going to do that? Housing added. Okay, so we're already bringing in, we already have housing added, had housing removed. So what we need to do is, we need to change those functions too, because that's actually using the housing stat, which I need to get rid of. Okay, so we're already sending in these housing behaviors, which is really nice. What we're going to create is a housing behavior list. Housing list. Like that. And then here we're going to housing list add housing like so. I don't know if it was a meme or something, but I saw something a long while ago. Like the game developer, they can do anything if you can just throw more lists and more for loops at it. I do feel like sometimes that's the solution. I'm just going to make a list of all the shit and then I'm going to iterate through it and find whatever I need. Okay. All right, so here, all right, so housing, what I want to do is give this housing to have a way of knowing how much it can store. USB, okay. Public, float, housing limit. We're going to return, okay, so first off, we're going to do say if USB equals null, then USB equals this, get component, unit storage behavior, like so. And then we're going to return USB gets storage limit for columns. Cool. So now our housing has a way of knowing how much it can store, which means here we can get our housing limit here. Let's rename that. Okay. Sweet. So now we're tracking our housing. We're tracking our housing. Whenever house gets added, we can do that. We're also checking. It can now know how much it can store, which is great. Which means distributing our workers is now much more of a thing. How sophisticated do we want to be with this? Maybe not very. Number left. So that equal to count. And then we're going to do while number left greater than 0. Well, okay, while that, we're going to do a for each loop house in housing list. Oh, it's getting ugly. If housing list, nope. If house get housing limit greater than 0, house add columnist. Yes, no? No, that's not right. This is not. That's not what. That's not going to do what I want. So, uh, this is what we need to do. So here we need to do. Let's do public float get remaining capacity resource type oops, like that. And then what we're going to do is return get amount stored resource type other way around, get storage resource storage limit resource type. Oh geez, get remaining capacity like that. So housing limit, get remaining capacity. Oh, ECS question. I don't know if I can answer that, but let's see what you got. OPP usually has data on each game object. I've been thinking about moving to an ECS time data system where a singleton handles all enemies and or another. Okay, for NPCs, another for spell effects. I like that. I like that a lot. I'm not sure that gets you to the true benefits of the ECS because I suspect that's under the hood. But I generally like that approach. I'm clearly not doing that right now with what I'm working on, but I like that approach. There is an efficiency loss. There's a performance loss if you if you have all these entities all over your world and they each have like an update that they're having to run and check on things. So if you can move that off to a single manager that maybe is iterating through a list of like say NPCs and like, hey NPC, do your behavior, next NPC, do your behavior, next NPC, do your behavior, you can get some small but not totally insignificant performance gains from that. I also like that model because then all your data is in one place. You don't have to go search through the scene to find things. Yeah, I generally really like that approach. But I think you use it where it makes sense and not where it doesn't make sense. No, I like that approach a lot. Okay. Total brain fart. What am I doing? Right. Oh, we still haven't added. All right, because get remaining capacity. Did I not actually add that in there? I did. Oh, right. That one does not need a. Okay. All right, we can. All right. Okay, so add worker. Can store resource. Colonists. Count. Can I do try-store? Do I have a try-store? Nope. So we make a try-store. Let's have a try use. Try store resource. Resource amount. Resource. If can store resource. Boop, like that. But if can't going too fast. Return false. Else store resource like that. I swear I just heard a train horn. Okay. Okay, add workers. We try to store a resource if we can't. Da da da. I like the bool in there. Just for some reason that can. It's not that hard to add. I call it add workers. Well, let's do it. Let's add that up here and house add workers 1. Oops. I don't love having that many nested things, but you know, whatever. Having issues with managing all enemies and thought, why does each of them need all that data? Yep. Totally. All right, we got to figure out what else we're doing here with add resources. So that's probably going to break everything. This might break everything. The hard part here is that, again, the workers are just different. They're just kind of, I mean, they're kind of their own beast. And I still think it's easier to treat them like a resource and move them around like a resource, because that is what I want to do. I want to be able to drop them off at buildings. And even like my infantry, like when my infantry get injured, the way you repair them is you drop off more workers, more colonists, which I really like. But I mean, maybe I'm overthinking this. Maybe I don't need. Maybe I'm overthinking this. I might be overthinking this. I think I'm making this too complex because I think one of the things for me, I run into this, and I don't know if other people run into this, that like when you're making a game, it can be really easy to fall into the trap of trying to make things super realistic. And I don't necessarily mean the graphics or that kind of thing, but I mean like you're trying to simulate everything and make it really real. Like what I'm trying to do right now is like, okay, I want my workers, my spare workers to be sitting in a house. Does it really matter if they're sitting in the house? No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter at all. They're just a number in a list anyway. So I don't care where they are. That doesn't matter at all. Well, I guess it matters in the sense of where we pick them up from. I guess what I'm thinking of is I may not even care about dropping them off at the houses at all. Oh, why does this make my brain hurt so much? Maybe it's just too complicated. It's a distinct possibility. The problem is trying to get the workers in the right place so that I can account for who needs to get fed and who needs to get fed and how much we need to feed. And at the same time, it makes... I mean, does it really matter if we go pick up the workers at the house? I'm not sure it does. I'm not sure it does. Let's see, got a couple questions here. You finally settled on a kid-friendly game to work? Oh, awesome. A endless runner. You are a shark. I love it. An endless swimmer. Endless swimmer. That's awesome. Look forward to seeing that. Let's see, Solomon, do I plan on releasing your game on Steam or elsewhere? Yeah. The game is going to plan to be released on Steam. I still haven't settled on a name for the game. That's the biggest piece right now, holding back from opening a Steam page. The two contenders for the name right now, I got a little bit different crowd here this week from last week, so maybe we'll get your thoughts too. My two top contenders for names right now are Starlight Station, which Adam thinks sounds like a K-pop band. He might be right. I still kind of like it. Starlight Station, that's one of the top contenders, and the other one is Deep Space Dominion. It's kind of a mouthful. Those are my two top contenders. If I can kind of settle on a name or on one of those two or on another name, I'll open up a Steam page. And I really haven't advertised it much, but if you look in the description of this stream, it should be there. There should be a link actually to an itch page where you can get a current build of the game. So it's about a week or 10 days behind where I am right now, mostly because it was in a playable state and I've broken things a little bit. You can get it there. It's not free. You do have to pay for it. And I don't know exactly how itch handles this. Full transparency. I will be distributing Steam keys to folks who buy it on itch. So if you buy it on itch, you'll get a Steam key. So long-winded answer. It's on itch. It'll get on Steam. I probably won't release it on Steam for at least 6 or 8 months, at least. A release on Steam is a much, much bigger deal. And it's got to be a lot farther along and more polished than it is now. Let's see. You often combine OPP and functional programming principles together where necessary, and honestly, there's no means incompatible. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Right there with you. Do what you need to do and make it work. Misty Abacus. You talking about the funny links that Notion creates? Let's see. Adam, are you suggesting? Oh yeah, I know. The current build's there. Current build should be in the description. Okay. Let's have a little think about this. So let's have a little think about this. So right now, we need to communicate to the player a couple things. We need to communicate a couple things to the player. So let's take a look at what those things are. So right now, up in the top left, I've got all my resources there. And so right now, that number, so I've got 20 next to my little people. I actually have an icon for that. So I've got 20 colonists available to work. Now, if I put a farm down, they're gonna load it up here. And load it up with some energy, and they should drop off some workers as well. And the order that they do it in. Or they're gonna they don't need a draw. Oh, sorry, I forgot we're building this. We got to build it first. So we're gonna build this. They're gonna drop off their energy. They're gonna drop off some ore. Okay, now that they've built it, now we're looking for energy, water, and energy and water. And there's our workers. So now we've got 2 workers dropped off there. And you can see the number in the top left has gone down because we're going to go deliver workers. Why it went down quite so much, I don't know. I think we lost some workers. Okay, so that number up there shows how many spare workers we have. So we have 8 spare workers. I don't know where we lost 5 workers somewhere. That's funny. We lost a full load of workers somewhere. Oh, I think we may have killed a few, maybe. Okay, so our workers are now dying because they don't have food and water because they still can't quite figure out. I've managed to kill the workers, but not how to keep them alive yet. So we need to communicate to the player how many spare workers they have, the total number of workers, and like the total space of, like the total capacity of workers. So we need to communicate all those things. So we need to, right now we have the spare workers. Oh, we're just like losing track of workers too. They quit. Okay, I'm just like, this has been such a pain, and I've been like kind of procrastinating this part. But I think it's a good thing to have, because right now, see, our housing is full. So we're killing workers off, and it's not counting against our total workers. So that's a problem. But let's think about this again. I need to communicate how many spare workers we have, how many total workers we have, and the capacity, what like our total capacity is. So let's work on that display first. So what I'm going to look at here, I have to go open my door. It's getting like summer has almost kind of arrived here. It's actually a little bit warm. My office here is getting warm. So inventory item, let's go look at this thing. This is the prefab that's getting displayed up there in the top left. So what we want to do, okay, so we're sending in a resource type, which is great. Visuals, we're just putting in that amount. So what we can do here is if type does not equal colonist, then we're going to do this. Else, we're going to do visuals count text equals get colonist values. So we're going to generate that method, and we are going to string colonist values equals well, actually let's pass in that amount because we can. So then we're going to do something like amount to string. Okay, so we're just gonna like push that number in. That works. Get rid of that error, colonist values. We're just gonna return that. And now what we need to do is build up this string so that it shows more of that information. So the next thing we need is the total workers that we have. Oh yeah, Lee Davis. Yeah, the workers go home. Yeah, to eat rest. Yeah, I think that's an example of making stuff more complicated maybe than it needs to be, or a little bit frustrating. And just it's hard. Yeah, like you say, hard to manage, hard to control. Like I think when we play games, like at least one of the motivations is to like feel like a superhero, right? Like and like be in charge. And if you start taking too much control away from the player, I think you erode that. You definitely can erode that. Okay, let's look at our worker. All right, let's go storage limit. Get max stored. All right, let's do it here. We're gonna make this public. Get total worker count. And what we're gonna do is return do this. Okay, and then we're going to return this here. No, actually, we just want this amount stored, isn't it? So here's the difficulty. Okay, again, the difficult part is I'm trying to do this in a way that actually makes sense. We need the total number of workers. All right, let's get rid of that. That's not doing me any good. Let's do that. We're going to add a button to this so that we can actually, Adam, I think if you're still there, this is kind of what you were suggesting, a little bit, a button to like test things. So we're not going to trigger day and night, but we're going to trigger this thing here, which is this function gets triggered when it's a new day. And this is the adding of the workers. So we're shortcutting it a little bit. Okay, so let's add in, okay, add our headquarters in. That's great. Now let's go to our player resources and start a new day. 0 colonists, housing is full. Great, that works great. Let's put in a water pump. See if this requires some workers. Can't remember if it requires workers or not. Hey there, thanks for joining. Hope to see you next week. Yeah. All right, all right. Oh, geez. All right, so what I've got now is I've got 5 workers there. I've got 15 workers there. So if I push start new day, 5 colonists arriving, housing is full. Okay, so that's just number 1, not calculating the correct number of workers. So what I'm trying to avoid here is like trying to constantly count how many workers I have. That's what I'm trying to avoid. Like I could create again, joking a little bit of lists and for loops. Like I could get a list of all the storage units of all my buildings and loop through them and check how many colonists are being stored there. That's probably not that horrible of a thing to do, but if I don't have to, I'd rather not do that. I'm just trying to think how I can. Well, I should be able just to track. I should be able to track. I should be able just to track a number, right? I should be able to track because I got this add and subtract worker. I already got a total worker count. Oh my gosh. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. It's funny, like as I build this game, like sometimes I find that I'm solving problems that I already solved or that I knew was going to be a problem in the future. And and I'm trying to solve them all over again. That's hilarious. Let's see if this works. What I should be able to do is place my headquarters. Okay, I place my headquarters. I push the start a new day button. 0 colonists arriving. Housing is full. And then I place my, not my housing, my water pump, which does take workers. And the efficiency of buildings is based on, like, do you have a full workforce? Okay, so 5 colonists arriving, housing is full. Okay, we're still not. Okay, why are we still showing? Why? Well, one reason that was still that way is I forgot to save the new code. Oops. Yeah, right. Totally typical problems. Well, yeah. I think I'm beginning to think that's just like typical coding issues, right? It's hard to remember all the things that you've done. And I think it's a good reason for like why, you can create a class and it gets too big. All right, let's see. Start new day. 0 colonists arriving. Housing is full. Perfect. That is what we want. All right, let's see. Blink. Okay. Yes, it's working. It is actually one of my big joys is, okay, let's see. Start a new day. 20 colonists arriving. Awesome. 0 colonists arriving. Housing is full. Perfect. It is one of my great joys to like come back to something and realize that I already created, an event or whatever, an action to let me know when something happened, and like adding that new functionality is just a piece of cake. The functions already exist, blah, 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 blah. I love it when that happens. Yeah. Unit tests. I'd love to work with somebody who really knew how to write unit tests for Unity and a game like this. Like, I'd love to work in that environment and learn what that looks like, whether I like that workflow or not. But like, I'd love to see more about that. I think for some systems it makes a ton of sense, right? Unit tests in Unity. But yeah, like, how do I test my worker manager? Like, how do I mean, I guess that's where you got to think about what it needs to do ahead of time, and you build those tests early, right? I think it probably changes the way you build your code. All right, I'm stoked. That's working. Okay. So back to our display here. Resource UI. Okay. All right, so we are going to player resources. All right. And then down here, if player resources equals null, player resources equals game object, find object of type. All right, we've got that. And then we're going to do colonist values plus equals. And then we're going to add in player resources total workers like that. Okay, so there we got our total workers. We also need, also need, so that's the total workers, and then we need our total capacity. Let's get rid of this crap. We're not going to use that. Okay, then here we need public int total housing capacity. And what we're going to do, capacity, that's not how you spell that, capacity equals 0. And then we're going to do for each loop, house in housing, and capacity plus equal plus equals house total. What did I, oh geez, get housing limit. I feel like there's like, again, like I want to be careful about how much I'm fully looping through here, because I'm already like doing a lot of this work. So I want to be aware of, okay, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Okay. So I just want to be aware of like how much work I'm doing twice. So I already have this storage limit. So we're just going to, get it here. And that's probably a public function. No, it's not. Okay. I just want to be careful of how much I'm actually looping through things. As the game gets more and more complicated, I think we could bog down really quickly and build in some really bad functionality that could be hard to dig back out of later. Okay, so this is going to be player resources, housing, total housing. Okay. All right, we're gonna do one other thing here. We're gonna make sure the if we're colonists, we're going to set this transform set as first sibling. Sure, colonists on top. They're either going to be on top or they're going to be the bottom. We'll find out. But this way that we can ensure that the colonists are always on the top of the list. I think that'll make a little bit more sense, especially because it's a special thing. All right. Come on, let's work. Okay, we didn't set it to the top, so that's all right. So there we go. Okay, so we've got 2020 0. All right. We could probably use some spacing in there. Why is that last number 0? That's supposed to be our total housing capacity. Ooh, because our headquarters isn't getting added to that. It's a little interesting. Okay, so now that third number went up to 20, which is good because we added this house, but we're not counting our headquarters. So let's look at our headquarters. Has so much stuff on it because it's doing everything, which may or may not be good. Or we could actually, I could even just take the housing limit of the, I could make the housing limit of the headquarters 0, and it comes with workers and you got to build housing. That actually works pretty well. That might simplify things a lot. Okay, let's see if that works. It's not uncommon, right, to start a kind of a base building, city building game with more colonists that don't have housing. Okay, so let's see if this works. I think that's an okay way to start the game. Okay, so I built this. I have no colonists now. Well, that didn't work. Resource start. Son of a. Well, that didn't work. Now I can build some housing. I mean, that's okay to start building housing, but I now need to have housing and wait a night before I get people. That doesn't make for a fun game. I mean, my numbers are working, right? So I can see we clearly are not setting the colonists to the first or right? Taxation without representation. Right. Wait till I introduce taxation to the game. All right. So that's definitely working. Our count is working. So let's do, okay, well, we've already got our headquarters script going. So what we need to do, or maybe, okay, let's try this. Let's see if this works. I built everything to be really kind of modular. It's the wrong term. There's a fancy technical term, but I built things basically so that I could add these behaviors and things would just work. What am I looking for? All right, let's set our colonists back to 20. And let's see if that works. So now when we place our colonists, or when we place our headquarters, the colonist line should be 20, 20, 20. And it is. And that makes sense that now our headquarters is operating as housing, which is probably a good thing anyways. Sweet. It may not feel like much, but that is good. Now I need to clean up a few things here because we're showing workers as a resource at the headquarters, which I don't want to do. So let's clean that up. That's in player unit. That's in my tooltip. I feel like I don't like making all these like one-off exceptions, but since I'm only doing it for colonists, I still feel like it's okay. And I don't need to, you know, redesign. In stats, instance stats. All right, so what we're gonna do here is if stat does not equal stat, that's not where, okay, it's not in player unit. I'm in the wrong class. Let's close that. It is in one of my other video ideas that I'm batting around is as a video on how I did my tooltips here, which admittedly is not the simplest, but all uses interfaces. Use these interfaces, you add an interface, and then any class or any mono behavior, probably limited to mono behaviors, any mono behavior can then send information to the tooltip, which means I can do what I'm doing here. So if resource type equals colonist continue, it just means that each class is responsible, each component is responsible for its own information going up to the tooltip. It's a little complicated, but once it's working, it's been really nice. Because here I'm just going to exclude colonists from going to the tooltip. So okay, so we put that back in 2020, that's all working. I'm going to put tooltips on these resources so they give you a little bit more information. So you don't have to memorize all the icons or whatever. That worked. And now if we click on this, oh, now it shows workers. Why? Well, let's put a breakpoint in there. Let's see if we hit that breakpoint. I don't know why we... Oh, because it's a glow. Oh, I know what it is. Okay. Here's the problem of inheritance again. All right, I know what it is. It's because we have two different types of storage, which I did need. I have some ideas of maybe getting rid of that. That is exactly what its problem is. Global storage. Come on, there you go. And because we've got the same kind of thing down here, we're going to do if resource equals resource type equals colonist continue. Yeah. Inheritance is great until it's not. All right, there we go. 2020 40. Okay, that's not supposed to... Okay, well, at least it's... Why is it 2020 40 now? All right, at least it's not showing there anymore. Now it's 2026. Okay, that what? I mean, I'm not opposed to there being extra room in the headquarters, but why? Why did that? Why? You were doing a freeform modeling giveaway? Water pump building for your game. Ooh, cool. You don't like my water pump? It looks so good. It's beautiful. I mean, it goes with the housing, goes with the power plant. It's beautiful. Cool. Well, look, let's see what you got. Ooh, that's pretty cool. I like that. I'll pull that over. That's pretty sweet. It's a postmodern water pump. It's a cupcake rack. Well, let's I don't I like your model. I don't know that the model quite matches. Well, the style's close. I don't think the style quite matches with the other buildings. I definitely appreciate it. It doesn't quite match the style of these things. Yeah, I've got a Discord server. I don't make a big. I probably should publicize it more. Yeah, there's Discord. If you check the link down below, it's generally fairly quiet, which I like for the most part. It's not crazy. If people have ideas, you can actually have a conversation. It doesn't just explode with stupid shit. Solomon, what is my main job? A year ago, I was a full-time classroom teacher. I am now a Unity developer for a small software company. We don't make games, but we make software that needs a 3D engine. So we use Unity to develop our software. And certainly it's been a cool journey to get there. Going to be posting your gecko emojis now. There you go. Go for it. Okay, why? Okay, I'm loving that is working. I love it when I point at the monitor too. That's super useful. I love that count is now working. It's good progress there. Made good progress with the storage. Storage is more flexible, more configurable, which I like. And we didn't break too much stuff in the process. And we've got a count for our workers there. Looks like a crazy blood pressure fraction, something or other, but the numbers are there. And all the workers are dying because they don't have any water. We haven't fixed that yet. I want to know why. I put a breakpoint in there and then never used it. Okay. I want to know why. The headquarters thinks it can house 40 workers. All right, what's our count here? Our count is 20. That makes sense. That's what we expect it to be. 20. So why the hell is it displaying 40? I thought that worked once. I thought it worked. I want it up here. Total housing capacity. Get storage limit. Get housing limit. All right, let's see. Let's put a breakpoint in there and see where, because this is actually the one that's the problem. Right? It's not the adding the workers that's the problem. That's still 20. I put the breakpoint in the wrong place. Yeah, Solomon. Yeah, this is kind of just like my game dev outlet. Exactly. All right, we can get rid of that breakpoint. We don't need that anymore. Okay, housing added. Great. Oh. Global storage, get storage limit. Max storage is 20. Okay. Back here. All right. Yeah, Adam, you're right. Adam, you're right. We need a tooltip on the menus. Yep. Absolutely. That'll be coming. That's again just I don't with what I have going right now, I think that's not that going to be that hard to add. But yeah. Yeah, I need a tooltip on the construction menus and I need a tooltip on there. So let's put it on the list. If you guys haven't used Notion, I really like Notion. Tooltip, building, tooltip, building buttons. My only beef is when I push enter, I wanted to like start a new line. Tooltip, resources, resource, UI. Those are both going to be UI. Those aren't super crucial to me. We're going to give them a 3, 3, and a 3. I just love this because I can sort all my to-do lists. I can kind of give it a status and see what's going on. And then the way this works too, like I'm filtering by status. So I can actually look over here at completed. Like here's the things that are complete. So when I move them to complete, Notion takes them off my list. Or you can look at them with all things. It actually creates a new view for the different filters, which is great. Well, that's not entirely true. You get the point. You can filter. It's really nice. Adam, you're right. Bring me back down to earth. No, we made progress. Like this is just what it takes. This is just what it takes. This, you know, it's 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, and redesign. But hopefully everything gets to be a little bit better. A little bit better, step by step. All right, I would really like to solve this issue. Okay, the housing, that is being done correctly. Okay, I bet you I know where it is. Storage added. Oops. Nope. Storage added. Yes. Here's what's happening. Because we're handling that, because we're adding the housing, because we're double dipping. So we'll do another one of these. Resource type. Nope, it's already resource type. Colonist. Continue. Oh, not an assignment. All right. We're going to do this. We're going to check this, and then I'm going to call it a day. It's getting actually really quite hot in my little room here. But if this works, we'll call it success. A good success. Still work to be done, right? Because we're still just killing. We're still just killing colonists because they don't have enough food or enough water. I actually have to get out of the house here in an hour. I gotta group mountain bike ride. I gotta get on. All right, there we go. 20, 0, 20. Oh. One step forward, one step back. One step forward, one step back. Of course, that's not going to work. Who needs food and water, right? Who needs food and water? All right. Well, we fixed one problem and we broke another one. But I am going to call it quits for the day. I don't think this will take me that long, but I think I need to like step away. I've been sitting now for 2 hours. I got to figure out. I'd love to be able to mount my camera on my sit stand desk, but the problem with that is it shakes every time I touch the desk. Because then I could go up and down during these streams, and that would be really nice. First world problems. Definitely a first world problem. Anyways, I think I will call it quits there. I do feel like we made some pretty good progress with this, updating the storage and getting the workers to be better. Anyways, I will be back. I'll be back next Thursday. If you do want to see progress on this, I guess I never advertise it. The Discord, there's a channel there. There's a category there now for this project, and a lot of small updates end up in one of those channels. That's just kind of a little bit of a like mini devlog. But so check that out, and I'll be back next Thursday, same time. Yeah, that's it. See you guys. Thanks.